back. I'm going to be painting this motor cover, engine cover for the boat. It's all sanded down with 320. There's some breakthrough areas. We're going to use a 2K primer to go over it. I'm sorry, not 2K primer. We're going to use a epoxy primer to go over it. And then we are going to put down base coat and then clear. Now I'm going to do something a little different, and you guys are going to be like, you can't do that. Why are you doing that? You never should do that. I'm going to use satin hot rod black, single stage black, over top of my MP170 epoxy primer. The reason why I'm going to do that, I have a gallon of black base coat right there, but I'm going to use that. That's a thicker product. That has a hardener in it. So we are going to use that urethane single stage with a hardener. Then we're going to top it with a urethane clear with a hardener. Reason why I'm doing this is that single stage paint is going to be a little bit thicker, going to lay out a little bit better in my opinion, and it's going to get rid of any little imperfections that are in there versus a real thin layer of base coat. I don't want to put a bunch of high build primer on this part. You know, it's one of those things where I don't even know what kind of material it is. Some sort of a plastic material, so I don't want to build up a ton of product on there. So that's why I want to use this single stage satin black, because that's what I have in single stage. I don't have any gloss black. If I had gloss black single stage, I probably wouldn't clear it, but you can definitely clear a single stage product. It is not a problem whatsoever. So if anybody tells you that it is, they're wrong. You can 100% clear single stage. You can also add clear into your last coat of single stage to give it a glossier appearance. So regular base coat, really runny. Single stage, a little bit thicker. It will hide a little bit better, and I think it's going to work out really well. So first thing we need to do is, I've blown that part off a couple times now. I need to get some wax and grease remover. Now this is a boat part. Fingers crossed I don't get fish eyes. Boat parts tend to have a bunch of grease and stuff all over them. They always do, no matter what you do. So I actually had to wash this down with lacquer thinner really well, because the stickers were a nightmare to take off of here. All the residue was sticking on the panel no matter how much I heated it up with the gun. At certain points, when I heated up really good, I was able to get some of the residue off, but I ended up scrubbing it off with lacquer thinner and some towels. And then, so that hopefully stripped some of the grease off of here. Now I'm going to really wet this down. I'm going to let this run on the floor. I'm not going to wipe it right this minute. I'm just going to let it run. And then let it dry for like 10 minutes. And then I'm going to re-wet it down, and then we're going to wipe it down. And then I'm going to wipe it down a second time with some window cleaner. Sprayway window cleaner. So I'm going to double wash this down, because I want to try to get all the contaminants off of this as possible. So I'm going to let this set for a couple minutes, then I'll come back, we're going to wet it down, and we're going to start wiping it with the towels. Okay, let's wet this down again real good. It's been about 5 minutes. Take my lint-free towels and start wiping it. I like to go in one direction. Circular in a circular pattern, because it's all you're doing is rubbing the grease around in circles. You want to try to wipe it off the panel. Okay, now we're going to go over it with this Sprayway window cleaner. This works really good. It doesn't have anything in it other than just, it's ammonia free. It doesn't have any like weird chemicals and stuff in it that could cause your paint not to stick well. There is no problem using this. A lot of guys use this before they put down a water-based base coat, but you can use it for solvent as well. A little harder to wipe off than the wax and grease remover. Your towel then tends to be a little bit stickier. Because this has these grooves in here, I'm going to get the blowgun and blow it off to get any remaining window cleaner or wax and grease remover out of those grooves. I had sanded in there with a Scotch-Brite pad and a piece of 320 grit sandpaper to roughen up inside of there. You want to see your rag. It's clean. You don't see any black, tiny bit of black right there, but for the most part it's completely clean, which is good because you know that you did a good job wiping it down on the first wipe. Use a tack cloth on this too. Hopefully I have enough MP 170 left in this gallon to just mix up a couple ounces of epoxy primer here. If not, I can open up another gallon, put it on the mixer, and probably wait another 10 minutes. But hopefully we can do that with what I have in there. I got to change my respirator filters. They're pretty much shot. So what I'm going to do for this video is the cartridges need change too. They've been in here for like a month. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this outer filter out of here and just run this filter for now. The reason why they have those outer filters is you can change those outer filters like 2 to 3 times per cartridge. So you don't always have to change your cartridge out. So what I'm going to do is just run it this one time without those pre-filters. Still going to catch the paint. I've done it many times. You don't smell it or anything like that, not having those pre-filters in there. And we'll just run it one more time, and we're going to take these cartridges, throw them in the garbage, put new cartridges in and new pre-filters in. So what do I need here? Losing train of thought. Oh, I need a tack cloth. I want to use a new one. The last one I used up was pretty dirty. So I threw it away, I believe. So got a new one here. And how I like to use the tack cloth is I open it up, I unfold it, I save the wrapper because I'll put it back in that wrapper. Now let's say you start painting a panel or a part like that and you get fish eyes, okay? Well, you didn't clean it good enough, okay? And at that point, if you do get fish eyes, take this tack cloth, throw it in the garbage, because if you put it back in that package or put it back in that cabinet, go to use it for another project that you had fish eyes on that one, you have a very good likelihood you're going to get the solvents that are stuck on here, or the greases and the waxes, and you're going to put it onto something else, and then you're going to have fish eyes on another project. So keep that in mind. If that ever happens to you, just throw the stuff away. Don't even try it, don't even risk it, because it never works out well. So basically I just take this and I kind of just ball it up loosely, and that's kind of how I try to wipe the panel down. So let's see if we have enough of this. I think it's empty. Probably gonna have to open another one. Sucks because I don't need a ton of it. I really technically don't need to put it on the whole panel. I could just hit the spots that I burned through at. Maybe we'll just do that. Then I don't have to worry about opening another one up tonight. This is a 2-to-1 mix. 2 parts epoxy, 1 part hardener, and then I always put a part of reducer when I'm using it as a sealer. When you're not using it as a sealer, I do 2 parts epoxy primer, 1 part hardener, and 10% reducer. I think there's enough in here we can just spot it in. We're going to use the 1.3 tip, and we're just going to use this gun the whole way through. We're going to use it for the sealer, the single stage, and the clear. Now on a black single stage, same thing with white and red and all those single stage colors that do not have metallic in them, you really don't need to use a sealer. Even if you see the sanding marks through your color, they're going to go away when you clear it. If you have sanding marks that show up in silver, you're going to see it after you clear it. It's going to look horrible. You're going to see lines with metallic sitting in it. So if it's a metallic color, you definitely want to put a good coat of sealer on your part to bridge and fill in any of those tiny little sanding marks that you might not have gotten to. I stopped sanding this at 320 grit. No point in going any higher than that on a black paint job, because you're never going to see it. You know, if you're doing a metallic, I would recommend probably go to a 600, wet sand it with 600. And in a case like this, that you know this part has a lot of grease and wax and stuff on it, you could 600 wet sand it with a little bit of Dawn dish soap in your water. And what that'll do is that'll help to start cutting down the grease on the panel. So let's get this all over me. Let's get this sealer on. I need to tack cloth it down, and we'll get this put on. We're going to do all the spots first, and then we'll kind of just use up the rest of it, kind of just blow it over, use it up. Might as well. But I'm really interested in hitting those white spots. So let's go out there and get this sealed, tack cloth and sealed. really good job wiping it down. Picks it up. Almost looks like fish eyes, but hopefully it's not. I don't think they're fish eyes. Hopefully they're not. But I'm going to err on the side of caution. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mix up some of this single stage. I'm going to put it on really light. I'm going to put on a couple light coats and see what it does. If it reacts, it's going to react with this single stage. Usually, fish eyes don't always show up in the base coat, but they will show up in the clear. So basically single stage is kind of like a clear because it has a hardener in it. So I would think that they would show up in this. If they show up in this, we have to stop. We have to let it dry, and then I have to sand it back down, re-clean it, and start over again. But I don't think it's fish eyes. So this is a 4-to-1 mix, 4 parts paint, 1 part hardener, and then we're going to put 20% reducer. Normally the gun I'm using, I will shoot at 32 or 29 to 30 psi. I'm going to shoot at 32 psi today. I'm going to shoot a little bit higher, try to break up the paint a little bit more, thin it out a little bit, and atomize it a little bit better, and hopefully get it to lay a little bit flatter. I will be wasting a little bit more paint. When you start putting more and more pressure coming out of your gun, you're blowing more and more paint in the air. So keep that in mind. You know, if you're spraying at 50, 60 psi, it might lay the paint out really nice, but half your paint is gone in the air and out the filter. So you don't really want to do that. Plus the gun I'm using is, I believe, recommends up to 34 psi. I think 29 to 34, if I remember correctly. But I'm going to go up to 32, which is a few pounds higher than I normally would spray, just to see if we can get it to lay down a little bit thinner, a little bit flatter. So let me get this mixed up with some hard reducer in here, and let's get this first coat on lightly and see what it looks like. I am going to slightly tack cloth it again. Mainly worried about the top areas of tack clothing more than the sides, but I will hit it all. But I want to really hit the top first and then the sides. So give me a minute and I'll be back. be okay. I didn't put it on real heavy. As you can tell, it's got a little bit of a texture to it. Not going to stress out about it too much because I'll just have to lay the clear on a little bit thicker. Now keep in mind, I'm using a single stage for my base. I can no longer use a tack rag. So we're done with the tack rag. Whatever falls in it at this point will be in it until it gets wet sanded and buffed. So I'm going to give that probably 10 minutes to set up. Usually 5 to 10 minutes is what they recommend. I'm going to give it a full 10 minutes. And then I'll come back and we'll put a little bit heavier of a coat on and we'll see what it looks like. Probably only going to need 2 coats and maybe a light dusting afterwards, and then we'll be ready to mix up some clear and get it clear. Really good. I don't think I'm going to put a third coat on. Laid out real nice. Forge feel is a lot less than it was after the first coat. So I'm real happy with the way that looks. I'm going to let it set for 10 minutes and I'm going to take a look at it. If I think it's good, I'll get the gun cleaned out and mix up some clear. Okay, that looks really good. It's been sitting for about 15 minutes. So let's mix up some clear. Now the benefit of clearing now over that single stage is we can put the first coat on pretty heavy. We don't have to do like when we do base coat where we put the first coat on real light because we don't want it to, it doesn't really have a lot to bite to. But now that we have that single stage on there, it's just like having a first layer of clear on. So we can put the clear on a little bit heavier on the first coat. And I'm probably only going to do 2 coats of clear. This is a 4-to-1 mix on the clear. Almost everything is 4-to-1 anymore. And this is a Wanda clear. This is a 2K overall clear. So this is, and this can be baked. You can bake it at 140 degrees for 30 minutes if you choose to. I always thought their hardener cans were like old-fashioned looking. If you look at it, it just looks like an old style can. And we're going to put a little reducer in here too, just to thin it out a little bit. Probably only about 5% reducer in there. Didn't go crazy with it, just a little bit. All right, I'm going to get this mixed up, get it in the gun, and we're going to throw the first coat of clear on. First coat laid out really good. I need to change the exhaust filters there. It's pretty clogged up, so it's taking longer for it to evacuate out of the booth. So that usually, you know, you can, when it starts doing that, you know your filters are dirty, which I knew they were dirty before. So I'm gonna have to change those before I paint that hood tomorrow. This is looking really good. I'm gonna give it a good 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'll put one more coat on. Remember, every time you put a coat of clear on, or base coat or anything, if it says 5 to 10 minutes between coats, every coat you add, you should add a little bit more time. For instance, this on here says apply 2 to 3 medium coats. And then it says right here 5 to 10 minutes at 70 degrees. So basically, within 5 to 10 minutes, I can put another coat on that. I'm going to wait 10 to 15 minutes. And the reason why I'm going to wait 10 to 15 minutes is we're going over single stage. So basically, I look at that single stage as the first coat of clear. I look at this as the second coat of clear. So now we already have 2 coats of clear on it, in my opinion. That's just how I think about it in my head. So if I were to spray the second coat between 5 and 10 minutes, or the first coat between 5 and 10 minutes to the second coat between 5 and 10 minutes, the third coat I want to wait at least 10 to 15 minutes. I'll probably wait 15 minutes. So I'll do that, and then I'll be back, and we will put one more coat of clear on there, and we should be good to go. And we'll take a real good look at it and see how it laid out, and see the dirt situation and everything, and see how it looks. So I will be back shortly. Okay, I'm going to get my gun cleaned out. I'm going to give it a good 15 minutes before we take a look at it. I waited 15 minutes before I put that coat on. I am using a slow hardener. Slow hardener lets your clear coat flow out longer. So basically, if you're using a slow hardener, when clear hits the surface, it has more time to flatten out and level out, which could create runs. But also, it gives you a smoother finish when you're done. Let's see what the temperature is in there. We're at 85 degrees right now in there. So if we were using a medium hardener, the clear would hit the panel and start drying faster than it would with the slow. So it wouldn't give it as much time to flow out and flatten out because it would be setting up too fast. So temperatures of hardeners are a really big factor in how your paint jobs turn out by the temperatures that you're spraying in. So let me get this stuff cleaned up, and then I'll come back and we'll take a look at it. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes. Let's go take a look at it. I have one sag right there, but luckily it's in a real easy area to get out. But look at the finish. Look at how smooth it is. Look at how there's only a tiny, tiny little bit of dirt. A couple little tiny nibs of dirt. Laid out really, really flat. And keep in mind, this tiny little bit of dirt. Look at how filthy the floor is right now in here. I have not cleaned the spray booth in weeks. Look at this. It's all overspray and dust everywhere. Filter's dirty. And that's the results you get by simply washing and blowing it off really well multiple times and using a tack cloth. I wish I wouldn't have got that little sag there, but I got like 2 or 3 spots of dirt on the top I want to wet sand out, and then I'll get that out as well. So alright guys, that's going to end this video. If you like what you're seeing, please like, subscribe, share, hit the thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys later.